Welcome back to another edition of the Pedro and Hannibal podcast. My name is Hannibal. That guy over there is Pedro.
I'm Pedro.
How
What
you
up,
doing,
man?
bro?
I'm good, man.
How
Another
are
another
you
great
doing?
Wednesday, my friend. Another great.
Another great Wednesday. As I always say, this is the highlight of my week because when we do work in other ways, other means, it's the same old BS, and it's nice to talk about something different, as you
Preach,
always say,
preach for the people in the back. Preach.
right? And we want to jump in. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about, we got a movie review, we got an album review, and we got some
Yes.
psychology, I wouldn't call it news, but some information about the single men out there and what they go through. So I'm sure you guys saw the title. I'm sure Pedro has a lot to say about it. But I guess, you know what? We could do the most positive news out of the entire hour we have with
Ooh,
you.
yeah,
you
start it
guys.
off. Start it off.
Kevin Durant is going to stay in Brooklyn. Okay. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Yes. Yes. I'm extremely sad. I think Pedro's about to do a crossover dribble right now. He's holding a basketball.
I can show y'all some skills.
Cool, but I don't want to cross over the
I
table
don't
and
want
smack
to
everything down.
cross Hannibal over. Yeah.
So I'm surprised. I like to have your thoughts, but I'm very surprised. But I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I think Nets could not get equal value. The owner Joe Tsai, he stuck his foot. He basically made a line and said, "Kevin, I don't care. We signed you for many years. You're not going anywhere. We're not going to get equal value. Let's run it back." I think maybe 2-3 days ago, I saw Trey Young's IG had a couple of pictures of a pickup game where Kyrie and Kevin were together. So clearly they may have made up, and they're going to run it back. And before I tell you my predictions of who's going to win the championship,
Oh, we're going there already. Damn.
tell me what you think about the situation.
Not surprised. I think it's good for Brooklyn. Good for the Nets. Kevin, all you could do is laugh, man. I don't think they're going to win a chip. I think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think they have enough continuity and enough games to play together. Ben Simmons is going to they're going to have to get him in the mix. Next year will just be average for them. I think they're 10 games above 500. That's my opinion.
Okay. And I'm going to let you know my opinion. Everything you said is completely wrong. 10 games over 500? Are you serious?
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
They have two of the top probably 10 players, one top 5 player in NBA. They're going to have only 10 games above 500. How dare
Facts.
you?
Yes.
I don't know why we do this show together.
I don't know.
We have, okay, so you can go because I'm going to explain why they're going to, all right, I would say at the very least, they're going to be in the finals. At the very least. And let me explain. Kevin, well, there's some caveats, but Kevin Durant and Kyrie, if they could play the entire year with no weird stuff happening, whether Kyrie has to take another vaccine, which I don't think we're going to have to deal with that, any kind of weird social justice situation, anything that if it's all about playing basketball, they will do pretty well. There's a solid team. It's not just those two. We got this other guy.
That's a huge capital I, capital F. If you're talking about two of the think about what you just said there. Come on.
The secret sauce that make this works is Ben Simmons playing at a high level. We like to we laugh at men that have mental health issues in this country, but women have it, and we give them the benefit of the doubt. They said that he has some mental health issues. He works out those demons. I don't need him to shoot a ball. Defend, pass. That's it. Defend the best player, pass the ball. Stay inside. How tall is Ben Simmons?
I like 6'6", 6'7", 6'7", 6'8".
He's kind of tall.
He's 6'8", 6'9". Yeah, he's tall. He's tall.
Big dude. Just do those things. We still got Steph Curry. Oh, Seth Curry. We still got Patty Mills. Klaskin's a pretty good defender. We still have a pretty solid, decent team. I don't know if the three-point shooter, the guy's name is kind of escaping me right now. I know he was hurt.
Joe Harris?
Yeah, Joe Harris. I don't know what we can get out of him. Hopefully he's healthy. Who cares about Blake Griffin and Aldridge? Who knows?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But that's a pretty good team. That's a pretty good team. Mm-hmm. Who's stopping Kevin when he's focus? Who's stopping Kyrie? Who's stopping Kyrie if he's focused? If this team was able to make it to the finals and let's say the Warriors come back, right? Kyrie's outplayed Steph Curry in the finals before. Kevin Durant takes over finals when he's in it and healthy. So I think, and I may be, I don't know if the betting favorites, I'm sure they're going to be top probably 3 or 4. I think, and this is my heart saying this, I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to win the championship. It's going to be the ultimate redemption story of Kevin Durant and Kyrie working together, and then Steve Nash figuring out the coaching thing. It's going to be one of the most important championships ever because of redemption story. What are you writing down, Pedro? Pedro's writing something down. I don't know what that is. I think it's saying Hannibal is an idiot. Or Brooklyn Nets.
What's today's date, guys? What's today's date? Somebody tell me in the chat real quick.
It's the 24th of August.
Is it August 24th?
August 24th.
All right. Is it a
I
full
can't
moon
even want to
outside?
believe this, that they think this is going to happen.
So I just wrote down in my journal. Oh, y'all can't see it. Anyways.
Yeah, hopefully
Hannibal says Nets win championship August 24th. So
yes.
I'm going to keep this. I'm going to mark this.
I'm going to run it back.
And we'll talk in June.
Already got Kyrie. They got Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, and Claxton got Patty Mills. I forgot about Patty Mills. That's a good team.
It is a good team.
Steph Curry can ball a little bit. He can drop 15 tonight. It's Ben Simmons. Lord help me. Ben Simmons gotta come through, and hopefully
for me that's a deciding factor. If Ben Simmons is what he was. Drug test. Yeah, listen. I was told
Bobby. By Bobby, I need to be drug tested. I'm smoking it. I wish I had some of that Primo.
It's beyond the Primo, guys. Trust me. And shout out. Thanks for the chat reminder. Today is Kobe Bryant Day. 8/24. Kobe.
Yeah, 8/24. Rest in peace.
My guy, man. Where's he at? Hold on. Let me see. I got a picture of him.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, I saw that. I saw it in person.
Back there. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it, man.
So listen, I think Ben Simmons. If he plays at that level that he was playing 2 years ago, yeah, they're going to be scary.
Ben Simmons, and I'll be fine, because you know what? Harden is done. Harden is not the Houston Rockets Harden. He's okay, but every playoffs he breaks down. I don't know what it is. He doesn't show up. So as much as I would love Harden to be here, if Ben Simmons can get his stuff together, just play defense. You're not the number 1 guy. You're not even the number 2 guy. You're the number 3, 4 guy. Defend, pass the ball. You have the young legs. Give the Kevin some time to chill. Kyrie some time to chill. Defend the best player. That's all I need you to do.
I know you're excited. Listen, I'm excited for you. I know when you saw that news, you were like, "Oh yes, there's hope in NYC." Finally, it's been how many years? I couldn't even tell you. Were you even born? I don't even know if you were.
The next one.
Neither one of us were around when Wilt Frazier or Willis Reed.
Frazier. Don't disrespect. It's Walt Frazier, Hall of Fame point guard.
Phil Jackson was playing, and none of us know. But this is the issue with your theory. And I know you're excited. I'm excited for you.
I'm extremely excited.
And you should be. So would I. But you would need all 3 of those guys to get on the same page, and that's not gonna. The likelihood of that is low. The probability of that happening is low. If it happens, they're gonna catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
But those guys are different and they're weird. They're not stable, but in 3 different types of ways. They're just not. So I just go off history, and Kyrie won his with LeBron James. Kevin Durant won his, and he was on a perfect team. Those teams.
But when the ball, when it matters the most, and that's in that series, who they gave the ball to? They gave it to Kevin.
No, there's no slight on Kevin Durant, but look what they just did. They just ran it back and won another one without him. So they probably could have won those championships without Kevin Durant.
We can talk about that later.
Well, they won one without him. Why couldn't they win 2 more? And they just won another one without him. I mean, I'm just saying.
LeBron was so good. I think they needed Kevin to get him, but we could talk about that. I mean, we have a whole season to
listen. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I wrote it down. If it happens, man, I'm gonna buy you 3 jerseys: a Simmons, a Kyrie, a Durant.
I'm gonna drop some money before the season starts on the championship. The Nets winning, and I may lose all that money.
Yeah, put $100
on it. I'm gonna put some money on that.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
All right, I'm already exhausted from you yelling at me, telling me
Came in
this not gonna
hot.
work out.
Came in hot, y'all. What's up, y'all?
I know,
What up,
came in hot.
Nova, Random Ryan, Dasher Poppy? Appreciate y'all. Pia,
Yeah,
appreciate
what's
y'all.
up? Oh yeah, appreciate
Driven
everyone
Dad, what up,
coming
Tony?
in here. Just listen to me get really, really emotional and biased towards my team. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, so that's probably one of the reasons why I think it's going to happen. But
Love it.
there's something else I'm gonna get hot with. It depends on what Pedro says. So I don't want to fight Pedro today. I really don't. But
I think we might just be fighting all stream. It's all
we
good.
may this question may be over by the end of this episode.
We're due. We can't always like each other. You know what I'm saying?
So a couple of weeks ago, the movie Nope came out, and I talked about it on the show. And I went to a drive-in movie theater, checked it out, and I think I told Pedro, I said it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like it was so bad.
Fact.
I didn't give any spoilers or any bit of the plot, but I thought it was overhyped crap. And I think that we have listen, I'm not going to throw race in here, but I'm going to say that some people say, well, this guy, black guy who directed it, said it's so smart. You got to watch it 3-4 times to get it. I'm sorry. If I don't want to watch your movie 3 or 4 times to get it, I want to get it once and then find little pieces of context here and there that's interesting. All right. He's turning this. What I forgot his name. Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele.
He is turning into M. Night Shyamalan, where he's trying to outsmart everybody, and eventually the movies get progressively worse. Sixth Sense, amazing. Lady in the Water, I don't like what Signs, you know what I mean? And just Jordan Peele, Get Out, amazing. Them or Us, This movie sucked, but Pedro, and I told Pedro not to watch it. I was like, it was so bad. Don't watch it, Pedro, because I don't want to make you feel bad. But Pedro doesn't listen to me, and he watched it. So I'll wait your review of the movie.
Oh, here we go. All right. So when somebody tells me something's that bad, right? I got to see it. Right. I mean, it's one of those cringe things. Like, how bad is this?
This car accident was devastating down the street.
I got to look. You got video, So I was like, all right, let me check it out. I saw other little like clips of things on social media platforms saying, what was this? I don't know what I just watched, So I went into it hearing a lot of negative. I took my girl. I was like, let's do a date night. Get a little food, a little popcorn, a little $20 soda, right? Go into the movie theater, sit down. We these movie theaters a little swanky, so we got the seat reclined back.
Oh, I love those.
Ooh, yeah, all I need is a blanket, and I'm good.
Yeah, I'm about to fall asleep.
So right, so the movie starts, and it started off fine, whatever, There was one moment I was gonna doze off, it was like I caught myself, but I didn't fall asleep.
Good.
I'll say this. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not even one of the worst movies I've ever seen for me. And this is why. Okay. I didn't love it. I didn't even really like it, but it wasn't the worst thing. The only reason it kept me guessing, it kept me, for the most part, what's happening here? This is weird looking. What is this thing? It's okay. So now you're telling me it's not a flying saucer. It looks like a cowboy hat.
It looks like down. A flying stingray or something.
It looked like, yes, perfect. Flying stingray. But then, then it's at the end, it's got all these weird things coming out. Okay. The acting in it was whatever. It's a monster movie kind of. I think Jordan Peele just wanted to keep people just on the edge of their seats and guessing. Similar in the way like Jaws. Like Jaws is one of Jordan Peele's favorite movies.
Jaws is good though.
It is good, and it keeps you in suspense. You don't see the shark until like way late in the movie.
Yeah.
But I think he was just trying something different. And this is that it's different. I think for me, and I haven't read any like internet blogs about other people, what their theories. But what's interesting to me, I think, there's a lot of symbolism in this movie, clearly for me. And I think this movie, for some people, you can look at it and you can say, okay, well, I see that. That means this to me. So you can internalize it based on what you got going on, which I think is kind of cool. I think Jordan Peele, I'll give him 2 claps for that, right? And another thing I'll give him a couple claps for is people are talking about it. So whether you like something or don't like it, if there's a little bit of a buzz, whether bad or good, that's not a bad thing. right? So I think he also understood I'm going to just make something really, really, really different.
Yeah.
But the whole chimp thing, right? The chimp going crazy, the balloon pops. It's like that show, and he kills the mom. He messes up the one young girl's face because you see her later in the movie and she's got like the thing over her hat. And then the one boy and the chimp at the end just like doesn't even realize what he's done. Right? He lost it. Right? He was a chimp on show. Right? And he goes to try to give the boy under the table a little pound. Like he didn't even know, he just lost it. So I think there's a lot of symbolism that Jordan Peele's putting in that movie. Not to get too deep, but like that's how I looked at it. That like there are a certain class of people, a certain type of person that has been put on stage, and then you act and you wonder why something happens bad. Well, you put them on this stage to perform, right? Like they're your little puppet, right? And I think, that's just how I look at it. So wasn't a good movie, wasn't a great movie. If I had to give it, I'd give it like a C grade, C minus, it's not an F for me. Would I watch it again? No. But what I will do is probably at some point look at some internet blogs and see what other people thought smarter than that are smarter than me. And then I might be able to put some pieces together.
Right.
But it wasn't the worst movie ever. So that's my review.
Well, I'm happy that you didn't like it because if I thought if you said this movie blew my mind, I'm like, I don't know what to tell. I don't know how to talk to you about anything else. So yeah, I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes right now. Rotten Tomatoes, they have a review of the critics and then like another review section for the audience. So the review is fresh, which means actually a good movie for Rotten Tomatoes. They give that label. So it's 83% for the critics and reviewers, 68 for the audience. If someone said this is a 68% movie, I'd be like, okay, I'll take it. I mean, mine's probably 40 or like it was just. Make an entertaining movie. Stop trying to outsmart everybody. Yeah. Make an entertaining movie. Jaws didn't try to outsmart you. They just knew that there was some terror in the deep. And how the hell they're going to figure this out? Mm-hmm. And they stretch it. Same thing with Jurassic Park. There's dinosaurs here. You don't have to try to dull this extra symbolism and context to tell a bigger story. Make an entertaining movie. Why? Top Gun Maverick had $1 billion. Do you think, it's simple. It's action. Simple, yeah. Just, don't try to outsmart everybody. Not try to make this complicated thing where I got to go read some blogs to understand what the hell this movie is about. I think, and that's the awesome thing about Top Gun being so successful. Movie executives don't care about social justice. They don't care about morality. They care about money. They think now, when they realize, damn, all these movies is about, social justice ain't making any money because no one's watching them. Mm-hmm. Or people just want explosions and guns and women and titties.
Yep.
Go back to what was working. And that's why I love the fact, and I'm not a big Top Gun guy, but clearly that movie resonated. Like it's actually doing like Marvel numbers. Yeah, like crazy. Marvel's usually was $1 billion a movie. They're getting Marvel numbers for a movie where Tom Cruise is like 85 years old. He looks like he's 27. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how he's able to do that.
Scientology.
It must be. Let's try it out because it keeps you young.
He's an alien.
These kind of movies are I think they realize, let's bring entertaining movies. Let's stop trying to lecture people. Let's stop trying to make it seem like we're better than everyone else. Make an entertaining movie. That's all. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but
yeah, I know. I think you're right. I think those are two totally different types of movies. One's blockbuster, summer, titties, big booties, beach. No, but really, it's the guys that sold that movie. Miles Teller on the beach going like this, like that's the whole. So I think a lot of women watched it and men, but for different reasons. That's why that movie did good. And it takes, it's very, like Tony just said, it's pro America. It's pro, like it's just a lot of people like that. We need that right now. So. And Jordan Peele's like, I'm trying to get an Oscar, so let me go weird all the way here.
True.
Audience might not like it, but typically a lot of the like best pictures over the years sometimes or critically acclaimed movies and things like that get a lot of awards. We don't really understand them. Like the regular folk don't get it. It's the critics. Like it's the people that have seen every movie ever and dissect everything, and the color that they use for the lighting means this, and that this was there. It's like I don't get it. I'm not for that. I don't need all that. Right. So I think Jordan Peele's just doing a little too much, but hopefully this next movie's better because I do like him. So
I think if I just had, I don't make movies. I make occasional YouTube video. 2 hours and 15 minutes was too long for this movie.
Is that how long it was?
It was 2 hours and 15 minutes. That should have been an hour and a half. Hour 45 minutes. Cram. There was times we were talking, no one cared.
Yeah.
Kiki Palmer was there. Like, okay, is she gonna put any clothes off or no? All right, so we just listen to her talk. Oh, that's great. Cut all those conversations that had nothing to do with the plot. I know I'm disgusting. I'm a perv. Cut all that crap out. Cut those conversations that did not help the plot, didn't extend the plot. Do the monkey going crazy. That was I like that scene. That was pretty crazy.
That was probably that was
the ending. Cool. I mean, a lot of it was against logic. Why this thing that you guys don't understand is sucking you up and eating you, but we're gonna try to get a picture. All right, bro. Like it may have killed your father.
That was weird.
Let's keep. You know what I mean? Like logic be damned. All right, it's a movie, but hour and 45 minutes. I almost fell asleep like you did. And things this pacing was probably the biggest problem. The acting was bad too, and they're good actors. So I don't understand who directed and said, yeah, that's a good scene. Let's go with it. Instead of saying retake all this, you guys sound like clowns. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I do appreciate you're not liking it though.
I mean, it's I measure a movie if I liked it or not. Like there are some movies I can respect. Like, hey, it's just not for me. But if I like something, I'll watch it again usually, right? Or I won't skip through it if it's on my streaming device and I'm flipping channels. I got no interest in watching it again. So
yeah, me neither.
You know what I mean? So
let's go into something that I think we will replay, at least for me. Logic, and I hope you guys are into Logic. Let me know in the comments if you guys are into the rapper Logic, the biracial. And he says it. I'm not just throwing it out there. He mentions the fact he's biracial almost every song.
A lot.
He likes to say it, and that's a bit of his brand.
Black, white.
And he's been in the game for quite a while. I haven't checked his date with his like debut album. It was a few years ago. It kind of came randomly on my Spotify. This guy named Logic, and
I feel like he's been making music for like 16 years. Like, hold on, I'm 40.
Yeah,
dude, it's been about 14 years. I feel like it's got to.
Yeah, apparently his career started 2005.
Okay, yeah, so that's that's 17 years. Right?
He put in 10 years of work before Under Pressure, and I absolutely love the album Under Pressure. Very, very, very well done album from the first song to the bottom. Kind of talks about his life, talks about his father, his mom. Really good. And I think the second one was the Incredible True Story, another solid album. And then Everybody, I think when he became a hit, I think Everybody is when he dropped the really big, powerful song 1-800-723-8255. I think it's a diamond song. So
it's almost that was a big. That's where he said he went pop. He went pop, right? Yeah. And I believe that's when he was with Def Jam or something, right? So
yeah, so he kind of jumps in there, and then later on, it just seems like he's putting out music. He's hanging out with Gary V. Positive vibes all over the place. Do this, guys. Like, and he has a really strong following. But the problem is people who look like me. Well, not look like me though. I have my skin color. Where they don't really bring him in. They don't embrace him. They're like, you good. Like the guy could spit rhymes. That's one thing no one can deny. The guy can spit some rhymes.
Yeah,
he's above average. Like
he's an MC. He's an MC. There's no doubt about that. He's a lyricist. He's an MC. 100%.
I think the corny is a label that comes in. I think Nova Dash has said that before one of these episodes. We were doing. He was like, yeah, Logic just seems corny. He talks about being vulnerable. He talks about his mental health. He talks about retiring. He retired, right? He mentioned, when Joe Budden on his podcast clowned his album, it made him feel bad, and he didn't want to make music anymore. And people, instead of embracing it, just like Ben Simmons, when men kind of bring that vulnerability out, it depends on certain circles. You get clowned. You're like, what are you crying for? Like, you're successful. Why you complaining? Why are you worrying about what Joe Budden says? And even Joe Budden's like, why are you worrying about what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah, he's not. He's better than Joe Budden, in my opinion. No, you don't think?
Joe Budden was really good. I know he's a clown now. Like, I'm not a big fan of. I don't listen to podcasts. But early Joe Budden was nice. I would say
put their careers next to one another.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, Logic has a better career. When you say skill as an MC, Joe Budden was the man, but then he just, Pump It Up is all we remember.
He didn't do enough. There has to be a little bit of longevity.
It's his
right?
attitude. Yeah.
Right. It's like we were talking basketball earlier. You have one really good year. Hey, that's cool. You had a great year. You got to stack it with another. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have a little.
I would not argue. I'm just saying, like, Joe Budden had skill. He wasn't fulfilled.
Yeah.
But Logic kind of let his mental health dictate his career to a certain extent. So he decided to retire. But he, comes back like Jay-Z in the Black Album. He thought that was the end. He comes back. And the album he came out maybe 2 weeks ago called Vinyl Days. And before I throw my review, because I've been ranting for the last minute or so, Pedro, what do you thought about the album?
Good album. I liked it. The only critique I have is he was a little too repetitive for me. I felt like he was really, he's saying his goodbyes, his Sarah, his sayonara as the last song is, but like he's just doing it was just too much for me, right? So that's the only critique I have. It was like a lot of repetitive. He's just really trying to basically defend himself. I felt like he was really defensive in this album, but sometimes that can make some good music, some good content, some good lyrics, right? Good album though. I like the little skits and interludes. It gives me that nostalgia. I know we always use that word here. I like the little he's using people as little voicemails and like it breaks up. It's cool. I like it. I like that.
We got Funk Master Flex on there.
Michael Rappaport.
It
was cool. It was cool. He had
Nims in there. I don't know if you know him.
Nims,
he's a big New York guy.
I mean, and so Logic gets a lot of crap because I think he's culturally he doesn't fit in with what some would say is hip hop or rap or
masculinity.
Yeah. He looks different. If you see him in a grocery store, most of Americans don't know who that is. He's not going to wear a big gold chain. He's not flashy. He's got, he's rapping about his family, his girl, his kid. I think that changed his perspective a lot. And when that kind of happened is when he started seeing his lyrics change and his albums weren't as good. When you get comfortable and you're not hungry, that happens to a lot of artists. That's a lot of people. And I think he got to the point where he was just whatever, but he came back, good album, solid album, good listen to it the last couple of days. It's in the middle of the pack for me as far as his list of albums.
Yeah.
I would give it 3.5, 4 mics. I mean, I like the Game album better, but I think this Logic album is pretty good. It's a solid piece of work. I think he's going out strong. He's not going out with a banger, but I think it was just. I think it's timely. I think it's good. Hopefully he feels good about it, and it's a solid album. So
I would say this is one of his better albums in a while. No, it's not as good as the first two. Because I will listen to the first two over and over and over again. But I like this album. He did come pretty strong. He seemed like he had a lot to prove. Where I think that's the issue with Logic. Like, why does he think he needs to prove? Where lyrically he's better than most rappers. I think if you had put 7 rappers out, any 7 randomly out there, Logic, his skill is better.
He's there.
For some reason, he's looking for acceptance, and maybe that's the reason why he likes to always remind that he's biracial. He seems like he's stuck in between these things, and he's not getting enough acceptance in the group that he wants to be accepted in, which is, I guess, the Black community, maybe the hood community, whatever that is.
I don't think that ever changes, Hannibal. I think he's still there, and he's still there. So he's always he's going to be 60 years old and doing that. I don't know.
He has the everyone else. He has everyone else. He's very successful, wealthy. He can do whatever he wants, but for some reason, he's looking for the Joe Buttons of the world to embrace him like the way I guess they embrace Eminem. But even Eminem gets a lot of the flack a little bit. But I'll say for this album, I liked it. He produced a lot of this himself.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Beats were hitting. A few of them. The kind of beats I like. I like the kind of backpacky kind of beats. A lot of solid features. He had the Game in the song. The album. Good song. Good song. I liked it too. Had AZ in there. Royce the 5'9". I love Royce the 5'9". Yes. Big fan. It's funny.
Super underrated. He's super underrated.
Extremely underrated. They had Action Bronson. We gotta talk about him in one of these podcasts. The guy sounds exactly like Ghostface Killer. It weirds me out.
I like Action Bronson. Not gonna lie, I like the show you had with this boys eating food.
That may be blasphemous because you are a big Wu-Tang fan. Don't let Ghostface Killer hear that.
Oh, Ghostface will be fine. He'll be fine.
Because I mean, I think they're cool now, but Ghostface did not appreciate him a couple of years ago. We'll talk about that though, because I think it's kind of funny. But yeah, I agree, Pedro. I think he is still fighting that. I mean, he had DJ Premier on the title of the song. Like, the rappers themselves do embrace him. So like, what is he fighting? Like, what is he upset? It was actually a good comment from Nova Dasher. I don't know if it kind of, I'll let you know if it makes sense for you. Damn. Which is kind of weird. Logic seems like the Kevin Durant of rap at the moment.
You know what? That's a good point. I think, we're content creators here, right? Nova's got a channel. We, me and Hannibal got multiple things that we do, different interests. And you know what I think Logic and Kevin Durant both fall under this. And sometimes we can all, we're all guilty of it on some level. It just depends how far you go down that street, right? You can have 100 comments in a video, and there's one or two that hit you a certain way that are negative. And I think Logic and Kevin Durant are those kind of guys. Logic gets a lot of love, praise. He's respected. Kevin Durant, love, praise, respected. But somebody will tweet something or they catch fire or something, and it takes the other 98 comments, and you forget about all the other stuff, and you only think about those two. I think those two guys fall into that trap. Yeah,
they have outwardly talent. They put a lot of effort in being one of the best ever. But yeah, I do. I'm looking at that comment, listening to what you're saying. Yeah, I think so. Kevin will never feel complete unless he wins a championship somewhere else, and especially the fact that the Warriors won that championship without him. Yep. And for some reason, Logic is looking for a few of the rap's, I guess, premier voices to embrace him. Logic does not get played in the hood. It just doesn't. I don't think I've ever heard of Logic. I play Logic in the hood, but I don't really no one's really put him up there. I don't know if he's going to be on the Hot 97. That's what it's interesting to even Funk Master Flex put him, because Funk Master Flex, like everyone else that has a brain, listen to Logic spit. Like, yo, he can spit.
Yeah,
I like it. It works, but no one's playing at the barbecue.
No, right? You're listening to Logic you're listening to Logic in your room. You're doing homework. You're smoking a little You got your girl over. You're cruising maybe with somebody, and you got your headphones, in, and you're walking down the block. But you're not bumping them in your car. He's not being really played in most barbershops, but people are still listening to him. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's the kind of person that maybe slightly more intellectual, a little more thought-provoking, maybe somebody that's a gamer that likes video games and this and that and comic books. Like, that's who's listening to Logic. And there's millions and tens of millions of people like that. So there's nothing wrong with it.
Dasher Poppy says Logic is a workout playlist. I'm sure that because he has some and that's what like you were saying earlier, a lot of his lyrics is like, you guys put me down, guys think I'm corny, or I'm still here. I'm still standing, which is fine. Great. Like, no one's saying we didn't understand why you retired in the first place. We don't understand why you're taking what a podcast, because that's what Joe Budden is. It's a podcast. He's not a rapper anymore. Mm-hmm. Why you take what he says seriously when he's provocative for a reason. I think he has some issues with Charlamagne, DJ in New York City. It's probably a little local thing.
Everybody's got issues with Charlamagne though. Like
Charlamagne's like, I don't like Logic. Like, why, bro? Like, you listen to hip hop all day. It's your part of your job. Why you don't like Logic?
He's a hater. Charlamagne's a hater.
So that's where I like Logic, and Logic is listening to that, and that's why when you are a creator, it gets to a point where when you start getting some momentum, even if you don't have no momentum, a lot of your attention cannot be based on people criticizing you. If it's constructive, you take it in. But you got to look at where's the criticism coming from? Is it coming from a place of emotion, jealousy, anger, envy? Just look at it and judge it. And you should have the people who you trust and you keep around your circle let you know if it's just criticism. So I'm sure no one in Logic circle said, yeah, well, you know what? Joe Budden said something that made sense. Like, no. So why are you letting that bother him? But he's a very, he don't go out. He's not flashy. The problem is when you always in your house, you always then it's only your brain and things coming in is where you're going to respond to. You still got to put yourself out there to help people who care about you and who like your work. Concentrate on that instead of the podcasters and radio hosts. Like who cares what they have to say?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I think Logic, he's had a phenomenal career. He talked about that in this song. He's exceeded his own expectations. So, I mean, cheers to him, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he's had a great career. He didn't think he'd become this and do this and sell this many albums, and you know what I'm saying. So I give him a lot of props. So
yeah, John's listening to him while he's working. He's doing his thing. I hear that.
I see that. Yeah.
So speaking of just dealing with mental health and dealing with all the issues that happen in our world, the internet, we have a really interesting article. Now I'm gonna try to see if I forgot to put it up as a picture, but I'll show you the website in a second. The rise of lonely single men, you guys. So I don't know anyone that's in the chat. It's a personal thing. So you don't have to say anything if you are single or not, or if you just play and you got a few all over the place. Like, hey, whatever. No shade. Right now, a lot of men are lonely. A lot of dating apps. It's 60% men, and that's not good for society to have a lot of single, lonely men, because things usually go wrong when you have a man that doesn't have a family, doesn't have, a partner. Things could go really, really wrong. So let me try to share this real quick with you guys and read some of the key points here. Let me see if you guys can see that. I'll make it a little bigger. Okay, so this was a study in Psychology Today. Men need to address their deficits to meet healthier relationship expectations. Interesting. We already know what that person's perspective is. Dating opportunities for heterosexual men are diminishing as relationship standards rise. Men represent approximately 62% of dating app users, lowering their chances for matches. Men need to address their skills, blah, blah, blah. So single and middle-aged men are the lonely, Pedro, loneliness. Is I'm saying it right?
I can't see it. Hold on.
Let me see. Am I looking?
Loneliest. Yeah.
I can't read.
The loneliest.
But they're lonely. They're more lonely.
The loneliest they've been in generations. Yes.
In generations, and it's probably going to get worse. So right off the rip, what's your thoughts? Why is this happening?
This is this is deep, right? And we could talk about this for a 5-hour podcast probably. But I think, speaking from a little personal experience, friends I have, right? Some would say this generation of men are a lot weaker than prior generations in some ways, right? Mm-hmm. Some would say we're weaker because we just haven't had to feel, we're that generation of everybody gets a trophy. And, whereas when I was growing up, it's like rub some dirt on it, right? And there's two different trains of thought. Like, you should raise your boys to be strong men, but what does the word strong mean to you in your house? For some men, for some cultures, for some dads, it means rub dirt on it, get up, stop crying, don't be a baby. For a newer generation, what we're seeing is a little more, are you okay, Pedro? Do you need something? I got a Band-Aid for you. Are you okay? Do you want to come out of the game? Do you want to go home? I care about your feelings, right? So this pacification of men as time has gone along has become more pacified, right? So there's benefits to that because now men are more in tune with their emotions. They're more, more men are in therapy, right? Which is good. I've done therapy, right? But you also have it like, if you pacify too much, right? You lose some of that masculinity. You just, you do. Some would say you do. And I think it's to the point where now a lot of men are finding it hard to find mates for that reason. But then also, like, I'm gonna jump on a whole nother thing of why I think some men are lonely, and it's hard, the rise of pornography and how you could be on your phone and easily look at porn and get it accessibly without spending any money. Whereas 20 years ago, you had to, so the accessibility of technology and all this stuff, along with the pacification, men now have extreme wrong ways of looking at like what sex is and what is love and what's this, and the expectations are, I saw porn and the girl did that, but when you go in the dating world, most women don't do that, right? So the expectations are just off, and it's, it's making men not being able to mate, and then you get in this cycle of loneliness, and well, why, my mom said everything was going to be fine, and and now I see these porns, and these girls are telling me they love me, and people are getting catfish, OnlyFans, right? And they're getting simps out here like never. So, and then it becomes you can't translate those emotions. You can't translate that fakeness into the real world on a dating app or at the grocery store trying to walk up to somebody. So, we're in a bad spot. A lot of men are in a bad spot, and sometimes it's their fault. Maybe it isn't, but a lot of things have happened in the last, I think, 25, 30 years that have put us where we're at right now. I think, at least. I know I said a lot, but
you actually covered a lot. You covered basically majority of what I think, and the comments are pretty good too. And John puts in, not sure if you guys follow the Red Pill community for men, but it's helping men every day. It's basically Kevin Samuels content and then like other creators. I have some thoughts on that, and probably we'll talk about more of that later on, because we're going to be talking about next episode, Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
A lot of what he says, but yes, I think there's some benefits in that community for sure. And also, he says that porn has made men weaker. Now, interesting. Porn has been around forever, right? But the accessibility, and I think that's the biggest point that I got out what you were saying. Technology has made things easier, but then the same thing, our social skills are diminished significantly. So if a man does want to go out in the world and actually talk to women, can he do that? I had pretty poor social skills growing up. And it really is interesting. The internet helped me because I was always playing video games. But then Xbox Live came out, had a headset. I started talking to people. It started to communicate with people, started to enjoy talking and having that kind of helps. But you still need to be in front of someone, eye contact, making sure that you can, you're standing up straight. Those skills are not being used. Kids are playing too much Fortnite, whatever I call it that sometimes. I'm in the back. My cousin lives a floor below me. All I do is hear him screaming into a headset. I'm not even in the house. I'm outside. I can hear him screaming at his friends. He's like 10 years old or 11. And he plays Fortnite all the time. And I got to talk to his father. But if you're playing too much games, at least he's communicating. But at the same time, you need to be outside. And I think that's the technology has made things different. The dynamics between men and women. Women are more educated more now than ever. At some point, they're smarter than like when I was a manager. I hired a lot of women because they just seemed to be smarter. A dude comes into an interview, they can't speak, no eye contact, a bunch of mumbling and bumbling. When the woman came in, spoke clear, enthusiastic about the position, and I was taking care of dogs, so it's more, I think, maternal instinct. But at the same time, they show more confidence about how they were able to do the job. Did I hire them over men? It didn't matter how I looked. They came in more confident. I wanted people confident. I wanted people to look at me when I'm speaking to them. And that's how it went. So women are going to school. A lot of them don't need them. They don't financially do well where they making as much or even more than men. That's a big issue in the community because 50 years ago, the woman stayed home and the man worked. That was a dynamic that worked, a traditional dynamic that's no longer applicable here. And we're all confused, right? And then the dating apps too. Women have a selection to a point where they can't and you could talk to any woman that uses these apps. They are overwhelmed about the amount of sausages that's in their inbox. Thirsty men, and the problem is 80% of them are not going to get any shot. Because women are only going to swipe the 20%. And the 20% is going to not look like me and you. It's going to look like Idris Elba or something. Like, we ain't going to get a shot. So if you depend on dating apps to get a date, you are wasting your time. Tinder worked when Tinder first came out, everybody was able to get laid. I mean, I heard from a friend. Everyone was getting laid.
Me too.
Now, no. You're because these apps need to make profit. Algorithms change. When the investors are saying, you got all these people, like, how are they going to pay if they can just easily get a date? That's not the point, right? You want you to pay the extra money to get the dates. Bumble, they all that. I mean, these companies are on, you can invest in these companies in the stock market. The investors want to get their money. So the apps have to change to make the money. And that's where we are right now. The internet has made things more difficult. At the same time, we're not social. And I think some of the things that they said, the 2 points do make sense. Yeah, women are, and I would say there are a lot of women, and Kevin Samuels kind of talked about this, that have unrealistic expectations on the kind of men that they can attract. And while they can attract the top 10 or 20% for physical relationship, when it's time to get a real relationship, they're not interested because they have so much options. Chris Rock said this, and one is comic. I forgot which one it was. He said a man is as faithful as his options.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of funny, and it's kind of like effed up.
Very true.
But when someone has a lot of options and they're the top 20%, 10%, they don't have to settle down with someone that they can easily get. And if a woman thinks that she deserves the top 10%, but not realistically, they're going to always be disappointed. So I think those dynamics are the biggest problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good points. And to piggyback and touch on when you're talking about women, right? And this goes to some of the how Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate would speak. And these guys speak with a lot of fire, and a lot of trigger words are used, and it pisses a lot of people off. But there's some truths to some of what they're saying, because I think both of these guys have varying opinions, but like at the end of the day, they're both very traditional men. They're high class of value men, right? Both of them are. They're millionaires, whatever, billionaire, whatever. And, they speak about how difficult it is to be a man. It's more, both of those gentlemen and a lot of other people, it's hard to be a man, right? We give women a lot of praise. Their mothers, they have to do all this stuff. They have it hard. They don't get paid the same. All this stuff is true. But like, to be a man, we're talking about men's mental health and loneliness and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Like women have started, they're graduating at higher rates. They're just smarter than most of your average woman's smarter than your average dude. It is what it is. Their brains think different, at least in my opinion. They're graduating at higher levels. We have strengths
and weaknesses. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But like, this is my point, right? So as more women become independent, start making more money, right? It diminishes the man's role in society, because traditionally the men's role is providing, right? I'm a hunter and gatherer. I'm a provider. I'm going to bring back this, and then this woman's going to make it a home for me and nourish my family and, take care of that kind of stuff. And the men are going to do other. So when you have women that are now coming out of college, coming out of whatever, and they're starting to date, and they've passed in some levels the men, you demasculate a lot of men, and the men are having a hard time catching up, and then the porn doesn't help. And it's just a never ending cycle. And I think that we're in a weird spot because, these traditional roles, while some don't like them, sometimes some of them are needed. I think, at least in my opinion, I think you have to like meet somebody obviously that just matches with you. But like, at some point, if we continue the progression of where we're going, we're going to stop having babies, and it's just going to be it's going to be in a bad spot, and I think we have to like go back just like a little bit, like not a lot. We can't go back to the 50s where it was just barefoot and pregnant. I think that's kind of crazy, but like, we have to understand that men and women are built differently, like just from a psychological standpoint, from a physical standpoint, the demasculation of man is happening. It's happening in front of us. And I think that's why men are committing suicide at a rapid rate. It's bad. And the mental, in some of our communities and what background you come from, what culture you're a part of, or how you were raised, right? Like, we're men from the islands. That's where our grandparents, our mothers, fathers are from the islands, right? Like, you don't go to therapy. Like, you don't talk about your feelings. Like, it's, it's a new way of doing things, right? And so we're just in this it's a weird state. And
and I understand exactly where you're coming from. And you also want to have some balance, like you were saying, a balance, not blame women. Because I think, talking about the red pill community, a lot of videos are them just dunking, trashing on women, or either saying something stupid, or they're saying, and it's like you don't want to develop a anger, resentment towards women. You're not going to
No.
get any women. Like
Yes.
I would say 90% of my interactions with women in my life have been positive. They're not negative. I'm not sitting there resenting women who aren't interested. A lot of it also is expectations. I think that's what Kevin Samuels was saying. We have to understand our real expectations and our standards and what we can have and what we can't have. So it goes both ways. Like some women probably should have a little bit more be more realistic on who they can attract for a relationship. Same thing for a man. Like you were saying, watching porn on IG, looking at 9s and 10s and think that you can get a 9 and 10. Well, if you're not taking care of your body, if you're not doing well financially, you don't have a career. If you have these things and then you're on YouTube, listening, watching Fresh and Fit, laughing at these chicks that if they said hello to you, you're probably finishing your pants.
Yep.
And laugh at them and saying they're dumb. But if they came and you said let's do something, you would jump at it. That's not healthy either. So it has to be concentrate, focus on yourself, and also be honest with yourself. I think that's where we have it. Where right now, my son is 8, and we're not going to bash him for being a man, right? Well, he's going to become one. He's not going to spend, 16 years with a woman, his mom telling him he's bad, or, male patriarchy. How can a person become a man, healthy man, if everywhere in society they're attacking his masculinity or saying that you're doing something wrong and you haven't done anything yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is harmful. When they have this much men unhappy, wars get started because those are the people who fight in these wars. That's the person that straps a bomb to his chest because some old man, some cleric says, you're going to be a hero if you do this thing. If you do this, you can go to the paradise and all these virgins. Why would someone that's a healthy individual with a career, a mission, a passion in life, a purpose in life, why would that person say, yeah, I'll try that? You're like, hell no, I got something to do tomorrow. I'm not going to put this.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I think, the biggest problem. So I don't want people to spend too much time on these little pockets of YouTube because it can get really, really crazy. And if you watch it too much, then you're either hating women or you're hating men. And that's not healthy for anybody.
That's a great point. I think, what we as men have to do, right? And I'll just speak from my personal experience, like from the mistakes I've made and what I've seen. And like, we have to stop. Hannibal's talking about, spending time on YouTube and listening to this and doing that. Like if more of us men, right, would focus on either our mental health, whatever area that there's a deficit for you, right? And I think all of us can look in the mirror and say, okay, what is it? Where's my deficit? Is it my mental health? Is it my physical health? Is it for my financial health? Is it my family around me that is that stable? Because as a man, if you want to attract a certain type of woman, okay, and that's your expectation, you have to bring something to the table. So that means you've got to focus on one of those 4 things I just mentioned, if that's your deficit. Because as a man, right? As a man, if being in a relationship is important, if having a good relationship with your kids is, being financially literate, these things should be important to us, right? You got to grind. You got to like have a plan, figure it out, and it doesn't mean like rub dirt on it. It means, okay, realize that I just fell down. Okay, am I the kind of person, am I the kind of man that can just get back up? Or do I need to get up and then hit my therapist, talk to my buddy and go have a beer with him real quick? Do I need to pick up the phone and call my mom? What do you need in that moment? And not enough men are willing to
write
right?
some stuff down, a journal, work out.
Exactly.
Call your friends, call your family.
Yes.
Do something.
Yes.
Running to YouTube may not be where it need to be. I'm saying that.
Yes. We have to be willing to find out like what do I need in that moment, build off that. You got to do the hard work. Not enough men are willing to do the hard work. When I was younger, I thought I had good work ethic and stuff, but just because I worked hard doesn't mean I wasn't also still lazy. I could have did a lot more, right? So if you want to have certain things, you gotta put forth the effort, learn, adapt. Like if you want to have, a beautiful wife, and beauty is whatever that means to you, a family, a home, you got to grind. Like you got to grind, right? And you could have those things because what society shows us is women that are attractive, pretty, and smart, they got the advantage. Okay. Men, the way we get the advantage is if you got money or some kind of power, or if you're smart. And if you're smart and you got power, you probably got money. You can have the things that you want. Because you could be an ugly dude, but if you got money and power and confidence, you can pull a 10, right? But it's going to be harder for a woman that's a 10, or it's going to be harder for a guy that's broke, no confidence, doesn't have anything going for him. Like, how are you going to get a 10? You're just not. You have to, as men, it starts with us. Like, we have to start taking ownership of like what we can control and like just do it. And I think we're in a spot now where not enough men do that. We expect things given to us, and we're not willing to put the effort in sometimes. And we got to start putting a little more effort, I think, and like figuring out, do I need therapy? Do I need this? Do I need, figuring out what you need to fix and put your pride to the side a little bit, and
Right.
work on yourself, and good things can come. I really believe that, but we have to, get off that internet a little bit, get off the blogs, get off this, and start thinking for yourselves a little bit.
Yeah, working on yourself. Tim Kelly with a really good comment. My fear is that America gets to the birth rate of Japan, which most of the country is retired. I don't know if you've seen. It's a lot of good documentaries on this. They're worried that there's not enough young people to take care of the old people in Japan. And their structure of relationships is so rigid that it's not as free flowing as other places. But let's be honest, there's less babies being born. Nick Cannon can't reproduce enough for the entire country. He's announcing a 10th child.
I know. Well, women are actively choosing right now to not have kids.
Yeah,
Like
careers. They want to do something. I mean, Serena Williams was talking about really being upset of retiring because I mean, I don't understand what she was upset about. Like, I don't get it. But a part of it was the fact that she had to take care of kids or something where women are so.
That's what I was saying earlier. We're at this point where it's getting a little scary. Like 100 years from now, like what's going on? You know what I mean? Like we're going to have. What are these roles going to look like? I don't know. It's ever changing, but a lot of women are deciding not to have kids, which is their right. But we got to understand there's going to be something that's going to happen after that. There's effects to
something to give.
Yeah. And we as men have to be good enough to where a woman wants to have a child with us. And there's a lot of clowns out here. You know what I'm saying? Like that don't have it figured out. Like we have to. It's tough, man. And it starts with like, you got a boy and you're raising them, right? You're forward thinking about that. We have to stop that. At some point we have to like make sure that next generation is like successful as successful as they can be. And I think a lot of these generations last 20 years, we haven't seen that. So men are even growing up in a bad environment and not really able to figure out things by the time they get when they're 20 and 30 years old. And I think we're seeing that right now. It's tough, man.
Yeah, the plan I have for my boy, yes, I call him the boy sometimes. I'm like, get the boy over here. I got to say something. This is why I kind of plan. I make sure that he needs to have real strong skills. Build his skills up. He should be able to communicate well, written, and be able to speak well. Be able to communicate properly. He knows, obviously, spend a lot of time learning, the whole book learning stuff, but learning real skills like to be able to cook, to be able to budget his money, be able to defend himself, right? Learning those basic skills, because that's how the bar is so low, guys. If a man is able to do those basic things, you already a leg up. I mean, it's been 2 years of lockdowns that kept a lot of these kids without education. My son was in some kind of school for those 2 years, even a remote thing, or as soon as they allowed the mask thing, he went to school. Like, I did not have him so scared that he couldn't learn. He was in school. He probably had more schooling than most kids. That's why I push him to question everything. Always ask questions. Don't just blindly accept things.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of skills. And also the idea of being healthy, being able to defend yourself, not just, obviously with a gun or anything, but physically being active, being social. Those basic things, most good amount of men can't do. They can't cook. They can't speak to a woman. They can't even speak to another man. Interviews, they can't do basic interviews. These are skills that we need to teach young boys. And going back to the sports thing, that's why it's great to have sports. That's why it's sad that a lot of schools don't have all these sports and music that they're taking away. The gym that they, those are the budgets they want to cut. When you're able to be creative, brings confidence, brings a level of understanding of how the world works. That's what we're failing with these kids. We're failing the public school system is terrible. It's not helping anybody. And then the internet's not helping. Where, again, like I told you, you can go on twitch.com right now, not sign in, and you can see Hot Tub chat live stream where you see a woman, probably a 9 and 10 in there, just collecting money, just getting chats, getting we don't call them super chat. I forgot what they call over there. Just getting gobs of money. How many you think is probably a 17-year-old kid that should be in a gym somewhere, or writing something in a journal, or working on a skill or a trade, instead of sitting there watching this chick in a hot tub?
It's accessibility, man. It's too easy now, and it's hard not to know that it's there, know that it's a click away, and it's hard not to get sucked into that. And it's tough, and it's everywhere, man. It's OnlyFans, it's Twitch, it's YouTube, it's the dating sites. Like it's tough to be a man right now. But at the end of the day, like, we have to start looking in that mirror and being like, all right, what's my deficit? Like, what do I need to work on this next year for myself so that I can be happier? I can feel like I don't need to go to OnlyFans, right? Or I don't need to get connection, at least, right? You're looking like that woman cares about you. She doesn't. She just doesn't, right? So what do I need to do to make sure I can actually have real connections with women, or people?
She's running a business. It's not even her responsibility to care for you. She's running a business. She's providing a service. John McCaney is an author, and he's in the chat room right now. He wrote a book. We talked about this several times in other live streams, but the book, The 5 Foundations of Contentment. I'm gonna put the link if I remember. John, remind me if I forget. Put this link in. A really solid book, easy read. I have a copy, probably upstairs.
So do I. Where is mine? Hold on.
Pedro has a copy as well. Really helpful stuff. Kind of breaks down everything: spiritual, physical, obviously your mental health. Very, really, really good book. Oh, he got the book right there. Look at that.
Right here.
I'm gonna put the link. It's on Amazon. Just type in John McCaney's name. You'll find it. Buy it. I have it. I had a Kindle, and he actually gave me a book. Really helpful, especially for today's men right now.
Okay, that's enough, John.
There's a lot of great comments. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of them. But yeah, Random Ryan, I agree with Hannibal says, but always ask questions, challenge with respect, of course. Obviously, don't escape, be confrontational. YouTube loves those and drama, but that's not the real. Of course. I mean, YouTube is a game on its own. We could talk about that at another time as well. It's a whole game on its own. So don't get too riled up when they make content. They make emotional content to get you to engage, to watch it, to click on it, get all riled up. And I don't want you guys to have resentment towards any one group of people because of what you guys see on the internets. Has OnlyFans made men less lonely? Ooh. And John says more lonely and broke. It depends on what you're looking at. Well, most of it it's porn-ish content, and I don't think it's really helpful for you. I never paid for OnlyFans account. I always thought, hey,
me neither.
Porn was free. Internet made porn free. So like, why? But it's a connection also. It's this person that you see that may say hi to you now because you're paying her. First of all, she's obligated to, because if you don't say, if you said hi to her, she doesn't, you'll stop paying. So she's obligated because she's running a business, or he's running a business. There are men and women on OnlyFans. I would say maybe 15 years ago, I thought porn was healthy because it was a lot of what they say. Like, listen, it's a good thing. Don't be ashamed, because a lot of because I was like the old school liberal where the conservative was like, porn's bad. You shouldn't do porn. The religious folk like, nah, man, jack off whatever you want, whatever. At least I'm not in a bad relationship. I got to deal with a person I don't want to be with.
Well, it just depends. It's like anything. Too much of something is bad. Right?
That's what I was going to say.
So it depends on how you're folding it into your life, because porn can make a marriage. It could cripple a marriage. Like, if I've seen it, it's like it. You have to understand there's levels to a relationship you can have with anything, and porn is another thing. And it can give you a false sense of what sex is and intimacy, and you just got to be, if you're in a healthy relationship with a man or a woman and you introduce porn into it, it could be great. But if it's not communicated right and it's not a healthy relationship already with your partner, it will kill the relationship.
Yeah, I think just any kind of addiction to anything. I remember when online role playing games came out. And I know you probably never got into this because you're not a nerd like myself, but EverQuest, World of Warcraft, those games where you invest hundreds of hours to get certain stats and certain items. None of this makes any sense to you because, again, you actually...
No, I've heard of these games, but I just never played them. Yeah.
You won in life. Women will literally leave their husbands. Like, you've played 10,000 hours of EverQuest. You idiot. And you're like, I don't care. Like, but a lot of relationships from video games. I know Random Ryan wrote in, you got to sign up when they gave you 33% discounts for the next 20 new subs. That sounds very detailed. And Ryan,
you got something else? Yeah, a little bit. Do you want to talk about it?
Listen, you try to save money. 33% off? I mean, that's a good deal. Like, why would I pay full price? But yeah, like John says, addicting hits of dopamine. Yeah, we gotta talk more about this. I know we went over a little bit. Next episode, we got two main stories I think we're gonna touch on. Obviously, the Andrew Tate situation, being banned from Facebook, Instagram.
You guys know who Andrew Tate is. If you guys can put a thumbs up in the chat or thumbs down if you don't.
But I think at this point he's pretty important. But it's also someone else that I think a lot of people do know. All in with Ari or Ronnie, if you will.
Oh man.
We're going to talk about why you should never believe a 9 or a 10 is homeless. Bad idea, guys. I'm already going to say it. I don't think Pedro agrees, but if a 9 says I'm homeless, impossible. Right? Impossible. Wow, we could talk more about it, but let's see. Yeah, I know Ryan's familiar. Salesman. I know a lot of people actually do like his advice. Some people think he's a con artist. He's a fake guru. Some people says that he is accused of real serious crimes, trafficking. Also said is life-changing. So it's all over the place. And right now, canceling him, is that a good idea? I think you already know I'm sure you guys, if I talked enough, you guys probably know why I think about canceling anything. But is that a good thing for society? We got a lot to talk about in the next episode. Yes, I don't know if we'll have any NBA stuff going in, but
next week will be spicy. I think it's going to be spicy, so it'll be good.
Very spicy. And if you like any of this content, please hit the hit the subscribe button. Check it out. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We have all of the major podcast platforms. Go in there, and especially with the Apple, write a review if you enjoy what we're doing. Put a little review. That always helps the algorithm. All of these companies, you know how it works. But on that note here, I think it's time to go, Pedro.
Yeah, hit the thumbs up and away, IO. We appreciate y'all so much. All the new people coming in. If you're listening on the replay, consider subscribing. All that YouTube stuff, right? But yeah, and shout out to my boy Hannibal. His birthday month's coming up. So
yeah.
I think he's going to be 25, 26. What 25, 26?
38.
38.
Which is funny is, Well, I was going to say it's over, but you're older than me, so I wouldn't say that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah. It's a good way to end the stream, bro.
No way. All right, guys. See you guys next week.
Peace.